So to start, we're going to just thread this needle. I'm going to use similarly colored thread to demonstrate on this piece, but it's a little bit darker, so it should make things a little bit easy to see. So I'm just going to thread that. I'll try and do it here on camera where you can see. And I sent you a rather large needle, typically used for like embroidery or hand stitching, because it's just easier to work with if you're not as familiar working with the needle. So, and forgive my lovely manicure, but basically you're just going to tie a little knot at the end of the thread. You don't need nearly as much as what I have threaded here, so I have like a forearm's length worth of thread, but really you need only a few inches for this. And so basically what you're going to do is with the buttonhole, you can do this either at the top or the bottom, but I like to do it at the top. So you see where the buttonhole, it's basically these 4 borders, and you'll see that on the other side as well. If you want to close it up just a bit, you're just going to do a stitch right across here, or alternatively, it could be right across here. Same here. So you see this one's been opened up a bit wider, but I would just close it up just a little here. That makes the buttonhole area a little bit more narrow or just tighter. Okay, so first thing to do is to create like a establishing stitch so that things will stay in place. So just grab a little bit of the fabric here, pull this through. Hopefully our knot is big enough so it won't go through, and do that same stitch again. This is just going to keep your thread from pulling all the way through. Okay, so we have a little anchor there basically, and then you're going to want to look, so we're on the back side of the buttonhole, you're going to want to look just here, make sure you see exactly where the end of your buttonhole is. So this is the opening. You can just kind of feel that out. And so the first thing I'm going to do is go from this side of the buttonhole to the other side. And this is what's going to help close it up. And so your thread should match your garment, so it's pretty, discreet. But this is going to be a little bit darker. Hopefully it'll provide some contrast so you can see a little better. And then I just go to the other side of the buttonhole. Again, you can see this is where the top of it is. And you don't want to close it up too much. You're just creating like a little bar, basically. And then push that through. And so you'll see here, now we have this little bar. It's essentially just bringing this down a little bit if you want a slightly tighter buttonhole. And it won't make it so tight that it's difficult to get your button through. You still have the flexibility that is this thread. So, and then just keep doing that. I think maybe I'll do at least 4 of these stitches. And you can go into the same place if you like where that goes. And I would test your buttonhole too after you do the first 4. Make sure that it fits well, that you're getting that tightness that you want. If it's not tight enough, then you just go down a little bit further. Okay? So I'm going to keep going. I hope this is pretty clear. Again, I'm so sorry about the lack of tripod. I'm using a laptop stand because the tripod is still packed somewhere amongst boxes. So this one I pushed down just a little further, so I think I'm going to give a little more space. Just keep my threads nice and neat. Hopefully they don't get too bundled up. There we go. That's great. I'm going to do another one that comes kind of in the middle here. Okay, and this will be my 4th. Okay. Let's just straighten out my threads. It's good to start working with less thread than I started with, just because the threads tend to get more tangled when you don't. So here we go. And so you see how it's just created this little bridge or little bar and that's what's going to close up the buttonhole. So once you're done, oops, you can just, again, similar to what we did before, catch a little bit of the fabric. I'm going to grab the actual threads, like right where the threads that we've just sewn, the ends are. And then you don't even need to knot it off at this point. Do that twice, and that's going to create another little anchor on the back side of the button placket. And then you repeat that for any that feel a little bit loose. So this one I made, you can see, significantly smaller when I compare to, so now, whoops. So now you see it's basically lost all of this, maybe a centimeter almost of space, compared to this one, which still goes the full length of the original button. Okay, and I'll show you on this particular sample top, we didn't actually have any issues with the buttons. I mean, it hasn't been worn much, but it should, I'll show it. Let's see if this is a better view. Okay, so there's the button. And then here is the original buttonhole. So it goes through, has a little bit of space, and you know when you wear it, it typically sits at the top, which is why I like to do the, little alteration at the top. So that's what hopefully keeps the button in, even though there's that space. But this one is the one that we just sewed is going to make it a lot tighter. So it'll be a little tougher to get in, but it should still go because the fabric is somewhat malleable. So this one I did particularly tight. And then when you place it, there should still be a bit of space, obviously, because behind the button there's nothing, but it should not give any slippage because it's quite a bit tighter. Okay.